And welcome back. It is Sunday sit-down time. With us now is the Columbia Daily Tribune's very own Mizzou Athletics beat writer. It's Eric Blum covering all things Tiger Athletics. Eric, how's your Sunday going?
It's going good. It's just a relaxing Sunday. Labor Day is tomorrow, but just it feels good to be back in football season. I know that's what I'm here to talk about. So it just feels great that we have a normal as possible schedule. We're not adjusting to everything on the fly. We don't have the height of the pandemic going on. It's great to be in studio.
Yeah, and it was great to see all those fans at the Mizzou football game. 46,000 strong at Faurot Field. Just overall, your impressions of the Tigers' first game. It's a win over Central Michigan. It's a win, 34-24 over the Chippewas. But was it a little disappointing?
Disappointing might not be the right word. Maybe underwhelming, which I think they have some similarities there. But the difference being that there was sloppiness all over the country yesterday. I mean, there were very few teams who played legitimate competition. Look at Clemson. They looked sloppy yesterday, and they still have a really good shot at making the college football playoff, even though they were playing Georgia. So nothing that can't be corrected. I think there were just some really positive things, but maybe some things that need massive correcting very quickly. And I'm sure we'll talk more about this, but this Kentucky game in less than a week is so important to this team. You don't look at Kentucky necessarily as a SEC power. You know, you think Florida and Georgia are those kind of proving ground games. Texas A&M comes here in the middle of October, but Kentucky and Missouri have developed a little bit of a rivalry where the better team in the SEC standings always wins this game. And being that this is week 2, if Missouri is 1-1 in a week, they're already on to Plan B the rest of the year. No matter how this year goes, they can go 11-1, but it's Plan B if they don't beat Kentucky. They have to retain at least third to kind of close that gap. And overall, looking at what Kentucky did against a pretty bad Louisiana Monroe team on Saturday, and Missouri, I think, had a tougher opponent, but maybe prepared them even more against Central Michigan. Louisiana Monroe, I don't think, won a game in 2020. But Central Michigan 2 years ago was in the MAC title game. So I think in terms of quality of competition, Missouri probably had the more underwhelming performance, but probably also had the game that better prepared them for SEC competition yesterday.
What about defensive coordinator Steve Wilks in his first college game since 2005? What were your impressions of the way the Tigers played? They had those 2 turnovers, but at times it wasn't clicking on all cylinders, I'd say.
It always appeared to me that it was going to take a little while for them to all settle in. And Steve Wilks' position, responsibilities and his expertise is all kind of with the defensive backs and the cornerbacks. And it was the defensive line and the linebackers that seemed to benefit most from his scheme. 9 sacks yesterday. I mean, Blaze Aldridge, what a game for him. I mean, it has to be a record. 6 tackles for loss in your Missouri debut. And then we got the numbers of 9 team sacks, the most since 09, and 3.5 individual sacks, the most since 06. Just crazy numbers. And between him and Tyler Beatty, who had the more impressive game yesterday, it's probably Blaze Aldridge.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the other star of the day was Tyler Beatty, over 200 yards rushing, also caught a touchdown, 2 total touchdowns. Is this going to be consistent from him? You think he said he was tired after the game.
I would be too.
I definitely would be too. But can he keep this up against some tougher competition when SEC schedule gets underway? I
would think so, because there was. It's not like he just limped into 100 yards and just had a bunch of carries. I think they adjusted his total to 203, and he still had, I think, 29 overall touches, and I think combined maybe around 240-something yards. That's a phenomenal performance for anybody. And, this year's all about proving himself. He wants to be the guy. This is his 4th year in Columbia, and I think yesterday was game number 36 I counted for him in Columbia, and his first as the #1 running back. He's had a ton of experience, and I think that him being there for this team really means a lot to him, and he showed it yesterday.
Well, a jarring stat on the stat sheet was the third downs for Mizzou. Just 1 for 11 on third down. After the game, Coach Drinkwitz said it was just bad play calling. Is it just bad play calling, or is there more to it?
And that's one of the things with the defenses, too. Like, Steve Wilks isn't missing those tackles, and that was one of the things that happened. It was just the follies that come along with the week 1. Can the play calling be better? Sure. But can the execution also be better? Yeah, I think that the one major, mark against Drinkwitz was that 4th down where he had no running backs and 5 wide receivers. Chance Lieber was in the backfield and not a Tyler Beatty or an Elijah Young. That just can't happen. But third downs, I mean, it needs to be better all around. And you need to convert on third down to win any game. And it was more so Missouri won in spite of not converting on third downs because of how well they played in every other facet than anything else. So I would think that going forward, that'd be a huge point of emphasis, and cleaning up the unforced errors seem to be.
Well, the SEC slate starts like we mentioned on Saturday, right out of the gates against Kentucky. It's a swing game. Just real quick, your prediction. Do you think, Mizzou is going to be able to pull it off on the road against the Wildcats?
I think they can. I'm more confident the game is going to be decided by a touchdown either way than who wins it. I would be a little shocked if the line doesn't actually increase. I think we're at 5 when we're taping this. I'll be surprised if that doesn't get to about a touchdown by the time the game happens. I think Missouri covers that no matter what. I predicted before the season 27-24 Missouri with a Harrison Beavis winning field goal. I'm going to stay right there.
If Mizzou does lose to Kentucky, do your expectations of the season change, or is it different?
I think Missouri getting to 7 or 8 wins, no matter how they get there, is a good season. It's just there's not too many other games on the table that, take away from that total if you lose to Kentucky. I mean, you have to go on the road to Boston College. You still have Florida, Georgia, and A&M, and that's if you win everything else. So this is a big game to get to those loftier goals of pushing the game, pushing the program forward. Yeah, my expectations absolutely should change if you lose to Kentucky, just because this is a game, if Missouri wants to win the SEC East one day, you have to have. And why not, judge the program by those standards at this point? That's Eli Drinkwitz's stated goal. Win the SEC East in a bowl game with integrity. Well, that's what I need to judge you on. And if they lose to Kentucky, you can't do that.
Well, Eric Blum from the Columbia Daily Tribune giving it to us straight here on Sports Zone. I appreciate the time, Eric, and thanks so much for coming on.
Anytime. Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back after this.